So when it comes to the cost of development finance, there are a few extra costs than when you're using bridging finance, for example. So the first one to keep in mind is interest rates. So interest rates can be fixed or variable, so similar to bridging finance or buy-to-lets or commercial mortgages. So the first thing you want to work out is the interest rate fixed or is it variable? Now, if it's variable, it tends to be an interest rate over the Bank of England base rate, which at the point of recording this is about 4.5%, but obviously it's going to fluctuate, I would imagine, over the coming months and years. So first thing to work out, fixed or variable, that's one of the most important things. Those interest rates normally sit around 9–10% per annum, again for development finance. The next part is arrangement fees. So similar to bridging finance, your arrangement fee is going to be about 2%, and that's normally on the gross facility, which is your 50–60% of purchase plus your 100% of the build. So the arrangement fees are substantially more than you would expect on say like a smaller bridging loan, for example. The legal fees also tend to be significantly more as well. So on a bridging loan of £1 million, for example, you would expect legal fees of probably about £2–3,000. On a development loan of £1 million, you would expect legal fees of around probably 4 to 5. So as a rule of thumb, the solicitors tend to charge a bit more money when it comes to doing the legals of a development loan. There's no massive differences in the legals, but it just tends to be that there are a few more questions, a few more questions around the exits, a few more questions around the source of funds, a few more questions around the contractor, maybe around doing the collateral warranty, so the step-in rights, which we'll cover a little bit later on. So the legal fees do tend to be higher as well. The other thing that is higher is the valuation fee. So when you do a standard bridging loan, the valuation is just what is it worth right now. Whereas when you do a valuation for a development loan, it tends to be what's it worth now plus what's it going to be worth once you've done the build. So they're essentially doing two valuations within one, and that's obviously reflected within the price. So valuation fees are significantly more as well. So the last professional that you will need to add in that's a little bit different to bridging finance, for example, is you will have a quantity surveyor or a monitoring surveyor. Now, the quantity surveyor is there to go out to check your build costs, to make sure that your build costs are correct, to make sure that the lender could, if they had to step in and take over the development, could still deliver it for a sensible build cost. So the quantity surveyor is there to check that your build costs are reasonable. So if you've got a mate building out your development and they're charging you less than the sort of average market rate, then expect the QS to come back and question it, and the lender to potentially want to lend you a little bit more, just to make sure that if they had to take it over, they could cover the higher build costs if they would take it to someone else. So you'll have that initial fee, which is about £2,500 for them to go out and check over your build costs. You'll then, if you have a monitoring surveyor as well, which if on any kind of medium to large development you will have, they will come out and deal with all the tranches. So there'll be a monthly cost of potentially £800 to £1,000, or every tranche that you draw down, they will come out and they will charge you to do that as well. So they're pretty much most of the costs that you need to keep an eye out for, but in one of the later videos that we do when we talk about advanced development finance, we'll go through a set of terms and go through those costs in a bit more detail. But they're the main ones that you want to keep an eye out for.